keep clearing my voice. Gross. But I got Google's AI to do some math for me on this. But anyway, it's 0.31% of people in the United States population. 0.31% have it. And it's estimated that 80% don't get diagnosed. And some of the reasons, or I've just mentioned the way they treat me, misdiagnose me out of prejudice, stereotypes, ignorance. Total lack of professionalism. Dismissing me as if what I tell them is a lie, when it's right there on their screen. Diagnose. But because of their prejudices that they can't get past, they look for confirmation bias, which is what they find is it actually says no. I'm serious. Oh, I have been studying this since I was young. Okay. I've mentioned this part before. My social studies, think about it. My social studies teacher was one who first actually diagnosed me when I was 11. Yeah, 11 or 12. Yeah, social studies. She put it on the board, on the film projector. I think it was, I don't remember what it was. It's just a drawing of someone with this health condition. The drawing and all. I've seen this. I think it's still the same one that they have as basically the poster child kind of thing, and the example. And she put it up there, and she was talking about different things, and I remember going, "That seems like me." No way would she, tell the whole class, show something in the other class. My classmates, we've known one another since kindergarten. They're going to look at this and say, "That's her." No way would she do that. Maybe she thought we were all stupid, even though we were in advanced class. Not advanced, but we were the brains. Okay, plain and simple. But yeah, she did do that. She did diagnose me, really, which she didn't have any right to, but she did. And I am thankful for her for pointing out, that there was something not right. Okay, not right with what was going on with my health. Back then, things were different, man. My mother suffered from postpartum depression after she had me, and she never got over it. So she wasn't one to pay attention to my health. And I learned from childhood to never try to get her to do anything for me. That all I was going to meet was just silence. Really. She would just walk off, or nothing would happen. Actually, one time she gave me a medication, and that medication should have been a warning signal. Her mother lived next door. Her mother and her dad. Her mother had been a nurse. It should have been flashing neon lights that I had that rare health condition. The medication itself is what my body has too much of. And it caused my gums to bleed. My whole mouth was bleeding. Did she take me to the doctor? Nope. Nope. She suffered, I truly believe, from agoraphobia. And she did not want to go anywhere. She did not want to leave the house. She didn't even want to leave her the master bedroom, master suite in our house. And for her and my dad, she never wanted to come out of there. She had 5 kids. One was autistic, my brother, the eldest. She did not want to come out. So this is, the neglect, which is abuse, I had faced since I was a child. And what causes this rare health condition? Early childhood trauma, for one. Neglect, abuse, this kind of thing, not getting diagnosed, so on, so forth, on and on and on. And see, these are things that I still feel like, am I even going to make this public? Because whenever I talk this detail about my own health, I'll put it on private, on a channel that's private. Seriously. It's, it's though as I want to talk about these. I really want to talk. This is my kind of therapy. I've been to therapists. I have. Okay, where I live, do you hear the problems I have? That I know I'm not the only one. Adam is now having to go to different doctors because he's older than I, and they want him to run all these tests and they send him to this person, that person, all that. He's always, had great insurance when he was working. He's an electrical engineer, and there's a whole story behind the rest of it before you even ask the question. But I'm not willing to talk about. But then, when he retired and he got put on Social Security, whatever it is, and all that, in his secondary and so forth, and he can go to these places, and so they're doing this, and he's seeing these different doctors, and like last night I asked him, I said, did you, now that they're doing all these tests and everything, and seeing all these different providers, I asked him how many appointments he had last year, 2025. And he thought about it. He said, well, first thing he said was a lot, too many. And we're talking about all these different ones. I said, well, what is too many to you? And I am going with the flow. You hear that right? Stream of consciousness. And he said that it was 15. We're around 15. I said, wow, how nice it must be to be you. I said that I counted them, and it was 36. And that doesn't include all the physical therapy appointments I had. Okay, and you know what? Out of all of those, and I'm counting in the times that I went to the ER, and was diagnosed with back in March of last year with a heart failure. And that guy told me that it was just a warning. It was a big word, is the way he put it. It's just a warning. It's not, something I should get really concerned about. But boy, did those cardiologists hop on it and say it was. I went from an EKG that said that everything was fine to suddenly they said the EKGs were saying, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, the EKG was saying, oh, we need big, huge tests. We need her to have a cardiogram. Is it cardiogram? Yeah, the biggest one. Oh, we need that. And the original doctor that did the EKG said no. Yeah. I said, I just don't trust it. He said, along this line. Because he was the one that did the original EKG. And the last time EKG I had, I got right before I had a telemed visit. I got the results right before telemed, through the portal. And I had written down, because I was using the portal for a telemed, I wrote down the what it said on one of them, which was, I'm an extremely educated person, over 21 years. I can read. And it said it was a good thing. Let's just make it brief. It was a good thing. It was improvement from something they had found the time before, and that was no longer the case. And he said, yes, that's exactly what it means. And the cardiologist at appointment, telemed, a few hours later the same day, and I asked him, I said, what about the EKG? He said, oh, there was no change. I said, there's no change? I said, then what does this mean? And I read it off to him. He said, oh, that's nothing. It could be anything. No. But now we need to talk about this CT we're going to do. You see? This is the BS that I have to deal with. And one person that works within this system, one person that is not in this county, is in another one. Like I said, when she told me that they could be, they're doing their, basically, the way the whole, now that I look at it, the way the whole of it, more and more, she was basically telling me that they are committing some, what could possibly be fraud and abuse on them. But that cardiologist I met, he let me know he was going to turn around on me. There's no way to turn around on me. I don't make those appointments. I don't run those tests. He does. I wouldn't know those tests, that this is what I need. Only he would. I'm not a cardiologist. I've never studied it, ever. How would I know? How would I know the sequence? How would I know any of that? Oh, but they might find a way. This was also a guy, Adam was with me during the in-person one with him. And like I said earlier, Adam was not happy with how aggressive he was toward me. And the guy didn't care. Well, he stood too close. Adam noticed it too. Adam's one of those, just let it go. Adam and I had arguments about this yesterday. Just let it go. I said, am 62 years old. I've had this since I was 10 years old. How much more letting it go is going to happen, because I have no choice. I really, until they finally found, not a cure, but, they came up with some medication for this. And, what year was it? 2012 or 2016, whenever it was, somewhere around that time. There was other medications, but finally had one, and none of these doctors have told me. None of these. This is 2026. It wasn't until 2025 that anybody even mentioned it, that there is a medication. Now, talk about neglect. Story of my life. This is sick, and not in a good way. And I'm so angry. Okay, not angry. It's really not angry. It's disgust. I think a lot of people would be feeling furious, pure fury, at being treated this way. The misdiagnoses that are just swept under the rug. They actually, when I went to the, how many days would it be now? 12? Yeah, 12 days ago, I went to an urgent care, and this kind of thing happened. So there's so much involved in all this, in that urgent care. So I'm switching to this part. Go with the flow. The urgent care I went to, for one thing, and I looked it up yesterday. I asked Google again, if in Texas, how many office visits should it take for me to do that, to get a diagnosis for that? And I'm not going to mention what it is once again. This is something else. And it said one. It said that in any place in the United States, one. Then I narrowed it down to Texas, one. Do you want to know how many their system is going to have me do? Okay, visits all together would be 4. Appointments. 4 appointments. That should only be 1. 4. And 3 of those would be office visits, which should only be altogether, like I say, I keep saying, 1. They get 4 out of them, and 3 of those office visits. When all together should have only been 1. And I did everything in that one. That was the urgent care. Everything they needed right then. And it actually said that the result said, they actually did the result, and that's all it should be, is a visit and then the result right then. No waiting, no have to reschedule, no having to get a follow-up appointment so they can get more money. This one they want that, and then now they want me to see a televisit and then have a follow-up after that. And I have to go in to make another appointment to go in and do the test again. But the test showed up. No problem. None. Even the message through the portal, and that's what I changed it to on purpose. I want them to come through the portal in writing. It says showed up no problem, so therefore it wasn't a good test. So I need to do the test again, because it showed up other things, but it didn't show the one that they were expecting it would show up. So therefore it wasn't a good test. No, therefore they couldn't get another visit out of it. So they got their other visit out of it. They want to get their other visit. That is what I said, draw the line. I'm sick of this crap. I called their phone number from out of this county, the county that seems to have it against this county, or they're just tired of hearing it. Maybe that's what most people do, is to call them. But like I said, I don't understand why these people seem to be so interested in me. I never called them. They right off the bat, they started calling me as soon as I started using this insurance. And they call me, like I said, it could be because I have this rare health condition and they're using me as that mystery patient with me not knowing it. It actually does feel like that. Honestly, it does feel like that. Okay, and they can see quite a bit of their incompetencies here, their misdiagnoses here. We want to schedule appointment, and never, those follow-up visits are supposed to be about the test or procedures they've done, and then to explain them to me, and they don't. They refuse to. Like I said before, what is it? Crickets, evasiveness. It's change the subject, and we'll talk. No. Let's talk about what these other tests, these other procedures we need to do. And that one cardiologist not telling me that I would have to take medication to do that he had to write a prescription for, until I didn't do it. And that telemed with him, he said, oh, you need to do this. So I was going to go to that place and they would have told me that I can't do it because I didn't have the medication, because he forgot. Or would they do it and then they say, well, what happened? It's wrong. Oh, she was supposed to take this medication, so we'll have to reschedule it and do another one. You see? Well, what was the game he was playing on that? And how about them telling me, oh, there's my squirrely,